Good evening, everyone. Mike Palmer from Know Your Rights Group and Success Coaching International with another very important live video update tonight. So first up tonight, I want to obviously address Anzac Day, which we had on Thursday this week. And I really want to ask everybody out there two very simple questions. Firstly, do you honestly think that those who gave their lives fighting for this country would be happy with the current state of affairs, specifically with the majority of Aussies just sitting back doing nothing whilst our governments continue to further erode the very freedoms and rights that those soldiers died for? And obviously, if you don't think that they would be impressed, my next question is, what are you going to do about it? Every day I get email with excuse after excuse after excuse. Oh, it's too hard to go to court and fight my fine, or oh, I'm too scared to go to court. How scared do you think those teenagers were that were being sent off to war? Okay, let's keep things in perspective. Oh, I'm too busy to, listen to your free radio shows or watch your free, live video updates. I mean, really? We do one 30-minute video per week and we do one 2-hour radio show a week. That's it. Again, they're completely free to watch and completely free to listen to. Again, our soldiers gave up their lives. Most Aussies can't give up just a few hours a week to learn about their rights and how to stand up for them. Okay? Oh, your books and your seminars, they all cost too much. Really? Compared to what exactly? Okay? What price do you put on knowing your rights and standing up for your freedoms? Again, our soldiers gave their lives and most Aussies can't even give up a few $100s. I mean, it just doesn't quite seem right, does it? Now, as I said on a recent radio show, this whole she'll be right, mate attitude just simply doesn't cut it anymore, because she's not right, mate. She's a bloody mess in this country right now. Look at all the COVID madness, over the past few years. The Digital ID Act that was just rushed through Parliament with little to no debate. These insane new rates and taxes that they just keep imposing each and every year. And of course this, incessant cashless push, which I'll come back to in a moment. Again, we are in a mess in this country, and if the masses don't start taking action and fighting back collectively very, very soon, it's going to simply be too late. So please, I implore you all to make a choice. Actually, no, strike that. Make a real decision, because that's more important than just a choice. Make a true decision about what you're going to do today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, to seriously try and make a difference. Again, our soldiers gave their lives for our freedoms. I'm not suggesting that anybody has to do that, but the masses clearly need to do a lot more than what they're currently doing. Okay, so rant over for tonight, but as always, please do share this around as far and as wide as you can, and let's get this important message out to the masses, to everybody, and let's honestly get people starting to stand up for themselves and fight back for their rights before they're all completely gone. Now, I mentioned just before the topic of this ongoing cashless agenda that they keep pushing for, and once again that has been in the news this past week. So I'm going to cover two different articles on that topic tonight, and the first is actually a suggestion by the barefoot investor. Some of you may have heard him, it's Scott Pape, who claims that the cost of operating with cash is now too high, and for some strange reason he thinks that we should be charged for using it. So again, I'm sure a lot of you have heard of the barefoot investor, and I urge you to go and look up this article and see what he's got to say. So this one is entitled Huge Cost, Barefoot Investors Cash Surcharge Prediction. Barefoot investor Scott Pape has shut down theories Australia will go completely cashless, making the bold prediction that Aussies may be slapped with a surcharge when using notes and coins in the future. The finance guru made the claim when responding to a reader's concerns about the country's move towards digital payments in his weekly newsletter. I've heard some talk lately, a lot more than the normal conspiracy theories, around the removal of coins and then notes from the Australian monetary system, moving Australia to a completely cashless society, reader Lynn wrote to Mr. Pape. Lynn claimed that there has been a discussion between cash transit company Linfox, the government and the banks around how expensive it is to move coins around the country for regional post office, banks, corner shops. The proposal is that the $1 and $2 coins will become notes again to reduce weight, and that later notes themselves will go, she claimed. Expressing concern over the scary concept, Lynn suggested removing cash would result in a lot more traceability of payments and business transactions. The ATO would see everything. Responding to her concerns, Mr. Pape suggested Australia won't completely ditch cash in the future, despite the fact we're basically already living in a cashless society, as much as the ATO would love it, he quipped. He also expressed his confusion over why there are currently no additional fees for cash payments, given the extra cost to businesses to accept it. Maybe Mr. Pape needs to read the law, and then he'll know why. It's always puzzled me why paying for something with cash doesn't have a surcharge like cards do, he responded. After all, there's a huge cost to taking cash. Think of the shopkeepers who have to walk to a bank holding more money than a homie in a rap video. Really? What have they been doing the last 100 years? Or armour guard who have 2 pistol-packing blokes driving around in an armoured tank. He confirmed, while he doesn't see an end for cash, I do see a future where there is a surcharge on paying with cash. Well, hopefully Mr. Pape's crystal ball is not working as accurately as he seems to think that it is. Now, look, I personally know a couple of people who've recommended his book and his subscriptions, and from what I understand, Scott is a well-respected investor, but perhaps he should just do that and stick to investing, and certainly not giving the government any other ideas that they can't lawfully implement anyway. But I'm sure they'll no doubt have a go and try. Okay. Again, just to make it crystal clear, because there's confusion out there, yes, businesses can refuse to accept cash as payment. That's absolutely their right. They can do that. But they cannot lawfully charge a surcharge for accepting cash. And nor should they. I mean, as I said before, people have been paying cash, for hundreds of years. I mean, why should we all of a sudden, be charged a surcharge for paying with legal tender? Okay, we've used cash for hundreds of years, no surcharge. Why now? And yes, okay, maybe cash is becoming scarcer or there's more costs involved, but I mean, that's just called the cost of doing business, just like all the credit and debit charge, surcharges and card charges are. Okay, now speaking of which, the other article that I wanted to cover is actually a warning from the RBA about the insane cost of those card transactions. And this is something that the majority of the population really need to be aware of and get their head around and understand. So again, I urge everyone, please go and read this article. I know it's similar to other ones that we've read out, but it's all spelt out very clearly here. So it says, business customers ripped off without least cost routing, RBA research finds. With Australians ripped off every time they use their credit card, the RBA is considering a crackdown. Beers, pizzas and other everyday items are cumulatively costing Australians an additional $1 billion. Okay, yes, that's with a B. $1 billion, with new Reserve Bank research revealing how much businesses and their customers can save as major banks and payment service providers charge exorbitant transaction fees. The transaction fee rort, which forces many businesses to recoup costs by charging customer surcharges, has also prompted RBA Governor Michelle Bullock to step in, with the central bank threatening a regulatory crackdown unless uptake in least cost routing, or LCR, is boosted. LCR refers to the practice where payments default to the least expensive processing network rather than the pathway set by the bank or the payment service provider. According to the fresh RBA research, the cost of accepting debit card transactions, Australia's most popular payment method, is nearly 20% lower for businesses that have LCR enabled. Businesses and their customers with annual debit payments between $100,000 and $10 million receive the most benefit from having LCR enabled, the RBA's analysis found. Despite LCR being made available to 99% of businesses by June 2023, only 64% have turned it on, even as previous RBA research has shown fees are costing more than $1 billion a year. That's how much Aussies are losing and just handing straight over to the banks for nothing other than the convenience of using their cards. That's it. I can't make it any simpler or any clearer. With the RBA finding that greater competition between the payment networks will lead to savings for both merchants and consumers, the RBA's Payment System Board has given industry a mid-year deadline to encourage the uptake of LCR among businesses. Wow, it almost seems like the RBA cares about us all of a sudden. Didn't seem to care about us when they were stuffing around with all the interest rates and putting them up, month after month, but now all of a sudden they care about us. Or so it seems. If providers do not make substantial progress by June 2024, the bank will explore a formal regulatory requirement to enable LCR, the RBA said. Well, that sounds good. However, there's always a but. However, a mandate of LCR is considered unlikely, with the central bank citing the risk of failed transactions and the high costs associated with reissuing debit cards. So, yes, we love and we care about you and we really want to help you, but we're not actually going to do anything about it in reality. Once again, this is what happens when we leave our governments in charge unchecked by people telling them, expressing their will to these agencies, to these ministers and the like. So if these figures, again, $1 billion a year in completely unnecessary credit card surcharges, that's what Australia's collectively paying straight into the coffers of the banks. Okay, if these don't make it crystal clear why you should be using cash at every single opportunity, then I'm sorry, and I'm at an absolute loss because I just don't understand what will. Now, this is once again the perfect time to remind everyone about Jason Bryce's petition, and that, of course, is the one to legislate a formal cash and banking guarantee in this country. Okay, again, you should find a link going up in the comment section. If you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on BitChute or YouTube or something else, just do a Google search for petition to legislate a formal cash and banking guarantee, and you will find that petition. Please add your signature to it. And of course, the other two groups that are important to join up with is the Call Out Cashless Businesses Facebook group. Again, let's name and shame these businesses that refuse to accept cash. And while we're naming and shaming them, let's also be sure to point out to them the reason why we're naming and shaming them, because they are playing a role in this $1 billion that goes to, not to them, and not to you guys, straight into the hands of the banks. That's why we want these businesses to keep accepting and keep using cash. And of course, as well, the Cash is King discussion group, which is the perfect place to share these videos, share these sorts of articles around so that people are aware of this. All right, so the last article that I want to cover tonight is also on the topic of making money, albeit in a slightly different format. This time the favourite good old speed cameras. Now, this one's a very interesting one because, of course, it comes from Tasmania. Now, everyone thinks everyone's, just very laid back and very quiet down in Tasmania, but apparently not. They get fired up there too. So this one is entitled Another Mobile Speed Camera Goes Up in Flames on Tasmanian Street. I wonder if it's spontaneous combustion. Fire has claimed the second Tasmanian mobile speed camera in just 2 weeks. Second one in just 2 weeks. Wow. The Over is Over trailer went up in flames at Ranelagh near Huonvale on Wednesday night. Maybe it's over for the trailer. That's what's over. Fire crews rushed to the scene on Agnes Street just after 10 p.m. with investigations now underway. The extent of the damage is not yet known, but there's a great little picture there if you look that article up, and it seems to be quite badly burnt. It comes after a similar incident on Boyer Road near New Norfolk earlier this month, where police believe a camera was deliberately set on fire. On Tuesday, Pulse revealed the state's fleet of mobile speed cameras have raked in nearly $10 million. $10 million worth of fines since they launched in 2022. Pulse has approached Tasmania Police and State Growth for comment. So again, it's all about the money. All about the money. Now, I want to make it crystal clear, okay, that we don't in any way, shape or form condone this kind of destructive behaviour. But as we ask in each and every one of our live events, what is it that would take an ordinary, average, everyday, law-abiding person and get them so fired up, pardon the pun, okay, that they would take such extreme action as to set a speed camera on fire. Okay, clearly people are getting sick to death of these blatant revenue-raising devices. They see exactly how much money they're raking in, and they see the little to no difference that they actually make to the road toll, and then they're lashing out in these crazy ways. Now, obviously, rather than lashing out, there is a much better solution, okay, and that, of course, is to just very simply challenge any fines that you might receive by using that tried, tested, and proven three-step process in Chapter 3 of that Aussie Speeding Fines book. So again, if you don't yet have that book, you'll find a link in the description to the video and possibly also in the comment section as well. Now, I usually leave reading out the testimonials from our members to the end of the video, but it seems like a pretty pertinent time to read them out now, and we have a couple more. The first one is from Darren, as you can see here, success in regards to a parking infringement. Dear Mike Palmer and the Know Your Rights team, on Saturday night of March 16th, I received a parking infringement notice on my windscreen for failing to pay the parking fee in Brunswick Street, Fitzroy. While I had every intention of feeding the meter, I found the signage, which was in green print, was divided into two sections, which made following the metered parking times to be very confusing. As a result, I walked away thinking that metered parking had ceased by 6:30 p.m. after parking there at 6:45 p.m. But after noticing a parking ticket on my windscreen, I looked at the signage again and then realised that the other section stated that metered parking actually ceased at midnight. However, in spite of my intentions, I decided to challenge Yarra City Council on the legality of this fine, due on April 6th, by following the first of the three-step process in sending a parking notice of objection, requesting, among other things, affidavit of proof. Since receiving my letter on March 20th, which I sent by registered post, I've received no correspondence whatsoever from YCC since, long exceeding the 28-day period. Many thanks to Know Your Rights Group and Aussie Speeding Fines team. Your information was invaluable. Regards, Darren. So again, that's how simple it is. Again, those letters in Chapter 3, okay, they're all pre-written for you. There's 25 different letters for parking fines, speeding fines, red light camera fines, anything and everything that you might get. You just cut and paste your details into them and post them off, and there's the results that you can see. And here is another one. You can see this time from Queensland, dated 16th of April, withdrawal of infringement notice, State Penalties Enforcement Act, 1999, Section 28. Dear Sir, Madam, I'm referred to the penalty infringement notice numbers, There's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, issued for unregistered and uninsured vehicle. These PINs have now been withdrawn for the following reason: manager's decision. If there was any enforcement action taken against you by the State Penalties Enforcement Registry, that action will cease and any payments made by you may be refunded. Yours sincerely, Registrar, Queensland Revenue Office. So you can see there's the 4 different infringement numbers, or PIN numbers as they call them there in Queensland. So again, that's how simple the process is. But again, you need to take action. You need to get the book. You need to print the letters out. You need to actually post them off. You need to follow the steps. You need to follow the timelines. It does require a little bit of effort, but the results obviously speak for themselves. All right, now speaking of results, the final point that I want to address on tonight's video before I wind up are our live events around the country for this year, and of course in particular our upcoming Sydney events, which are on next weekend, being the 3rd, 4th and 5th of May. Now, we sent an email out to everybody on our list earlier today. I know not everybody gets those emails, so I just wanted to quickly remind everyone that unfortunately, due to the constantly rising costs of putting on these events, plus the fact that everyone is just simply becoming increasingly time poor, these will be the last live events that we will be running around the country moving forward. So I tell you the following information not to impress you in any way, but to impress upon you the importance of attending these final live events. So over the past 10 years, we have helped thousands of Aussies navigate the COVID insanity and, most importantly, keeping their bodies free from these global medical experiments. We've helped thousands more fight all manner of unjust and unlawful fines. You've seen me, read testimonials out every week or so. We've helped people keep their analog meters instead of being forced to change over to these dangerous new digital smart meters. We've guided Aussies on how and why to vote a resounding no to the voice referendum. We've helped people around the country get their physical land titles back after the various states converted them to useless digital titles. We've been warning people obviously about this constant push towards the cashless society. We have been on the forefront of every attempt by our government to further erode our freedoms and rights. We've shown people how to stand up for themselves and how to fight back. Now, I asked at the outset of tonight's video, what price do you put on your rights and freedoms and those of your children? Okay, if you think you can't afford the ticket prices or you can't afford the time to attend, then it's actually you that most cannot afford not to come. Okay, if those are issues for you, you are the exact sort of person that needs to attend, because you've obviously been screwed over by the system in some way that you're either short of funds or really short of time that you can't attend those events, which means you more than most really need to attend. If you think you already know it all because you've already done our home study course, or you've maybe been to one of our live events before, it's what you don't even know that you don't know yet. That's what's going to harm you and your children, not what you already know. Again, these events have been fully updated, okay, for 2024 with all the latest references to legislation, all the latest court cases, and another 12 to 18 months of experience from both myself, Darren, and Daryl that we're bringing into these events, okay? And opportunities, as always, to answer all of your own personal questions. So, again, this is your last chance to see us live. We don't make this statement lightly, and we don't make it as some kind of sales pitch or anything like that. We make it because we simply do not want anyone to miss out on these vitally important events. It's just that simple. So please, if you or someone you know is yet to secure your seats to one of our live events, especially if you are in Sydney, because we are finalising numbers and seats and books and all the rest of it, then please go straight to our seminar page. You will find a link in the description. You'll also find a link in the comment section, and please lock in those seats so you don't miss out. All right, finally, as I always do, I'm going to finish off with some more great memes just to get people thinking about what's going on at the moment. I'm sure you can all relate to this. As it says, all your mates are all grown up, so the salary's still very small down here, but of course you've got, food price and food stuff and rent and mortgage. They've all grown up and gone up. Salaries, of course, stayed much the same. Yes, we keep trying to share the truth with everybody as much as we can on these videos. We can only do so much with the videos. We can obviously cover a lot more on our Tuesday night radio show. So again, we've got some important articles already lined up for Tuesday night's radio show that we can't cover on these videos, so please do make sure you tune in between 8 and 10 p.m. on Tuesday night for that. Yes, I like this one. This one came across my desk a little while ago, and I've been meaning to put it up there. So I'm sure there's some of you out there that can relate to this. It says, me listening to my normie friends start to sound as extreme as I did about 10 years ago. So hopefully some of you can relate to that. And I'm going to just leave you with this one, because this one is so important. Okay? As it says, I'm not asking you to think like me. Most assuredly not. I'm just asking you to think. Okay? And then once you've thought, I'm asking you to take action in line with that thinking. Because you can't possibly think and not see what's going on in this day and age. It's so obvious, it's so blatant. So if you just do a little bit of thinking, you just do a little bit of research, you can't help but take action, and that's what we need this year. So, as always, I am going to leave things there for tonight. And again, I urge you to please make use of all the resources that are available to you, all of the completely free information that's on our websites, all these completely free videos, completely free radio shows. Use all that information to please get informed, get fired up, and get proactive. We really do need that this year more than anything else. Of course, as I said, don't forget our radio show Tuesday night between 8 and 10 p.m. If you missed that for any reason, or you've missed any of our previous radio shows, you can join up as a podcast member. It's less than $5 a week. You get all the edited shows, the notes for each show, all the articles that we cover on each show, and we're even including transcripts of the shows as well now for people who like to reference some of the material that way. And of course, if you want to go above and beyond that, we do recommend our book, The Essential Step by step-by-step manual for understanding and exercising your rights. Of course, as I mentioned before, that Aussie speeding fines book for challenging all manner of unjust and unlawful fines. We know a lot of people are genuinely struggling, so please stop throwing good money after bad at these unsecured loans, your credit cards, personal loans, things like that. Grab that 4-step process in the Bank Secrets Revealed book. Again, all of these are available individually. You can get them all together as part of the combo pack. You do, of course, get that Know Your Rights tote bag included just as a little extra bonus. Everyone likes a freebie nowadays, so we include that. And, of course, you save a bit on postage and the like. Don't forget, we do have our caps and beanies. Some of the cooler weather is definitely starting to hit some states now, so grab those beanies if you haven't already got them. Keep your heads warm. Again, people see the logo, they come up, they have a chat. Great way to meet like-minded people, all that stuff. And of course, don't forget as well, our home study course. The best thing is to get along to the live events where you can stand up, ask the questions that you may have about any of the topics that we cover. If you can't get there for whatever reason, please grab that home study course. It is a complete recording of one of our 2.5-day live events. It's got 17 DVDs, a CD with all the documents that we use ourselves, 3 custom-made workbooks. There's sections there to write notes next to every single slide from every single presentation, at the comfort of your own home, at your own pace, and all the rest of it. And it is a fantastic resource that you'll come back to again and again and again. All right, so I'm going to leave things there. We are on air on a Tuesday night for the next radio show. I will be back on Thursday night with the next live video update, and we do obviously hope to see many of you at our upcoming Sydney events next weekend. Until then, take care.